And a good morning to you. Let's go ahead and get this party started. In case anybody didn't know, Maiden won Friday night against Watauga. I picked Watauga just in case anybody missed that memo last week or yesterday or over the weekend. I just want to make sure that consistently gets out there. Stephen Lowe is still laughing about it. Derek Lawn, good morning. It's early in the season. It's hard to and then I have some folks, some family members, especially one that lives in a house with me, that says, you thought Maiden was going to get really beat. I said, no, I didn't. I just thought that Watauga would play ball control and keep them from scoring.
Well,
and I'll tell you this, and I told her this. I said, West Lincoln's game will be a lot closer than that one will be. Because of the ball control. But Watauga did not do that for whatever reason. Richie, good morning. Stephen, good morning.
Yeah, Watauga they're a really good team. It's one of those things where, we jumped up on them 21-0 very, very early. And then, our defense is pretty good, Laney. I mean, they play well. They're very coachable. They fly around the football. And, it makes it easy, for me to, do things because of the nature of the kids. And I thought our coaches did and Will, Coach Byrne and I were talking about this, Friday night after the game when it's just he and I. We really feel like our coaches did a really, really, really good job last week. The coaching staff, Will's coach, in preparing the kids, and we felt the kids, really took heed to the game planning and what we were doing, and all we heard about was how they were going to pound us, and we've been hearing that for a couple of seasons now, and that's okay. But we played with a lot of conviction, a lot of passion, and that's something you don't see a lot of in today's world because those things are often marginalized or dismissed by people who don't understand conviction and passion. Basically people that just follow the follower. And what I try to do with these young men is explain to them that it's okay to be passionate. It's okay to want to be a winner. It's okay to want to go out and be successful and lay it all out on the line. Too many people are passive, and Nick Saban and Dabo, when they do their little talks to whether it be the media or the players or whatever, they talk about how settling or just being average is what most people want to do. If you want to be great, you've got to try to do the extra things, and that's what we're trying to preach to our kids. And they're young men and they're learning, but Watauga has a really good team. Wayne, if we played them 100 times, we may get that lopsided score. 5 or 6 of those 100. They were big and they were strong, but our guys were stronger inside here, I think.
Well, and here's the thing. You can't coach that, just like you and I talked about. If they're big and strong and can get control and lay on you, then it's gonna be a lot closer game. And I said this too. Kerry, good morning. Cannon Page, good morning, Bob. I said this too. I still think in the two conferences that are around us, the two teams that is out there, what I would say to not win the conference, I think they control their destiny, is Maiden inside the CVAC. West Lincoln and Bunker will give them games, but I think they're going to fight for second place. And I think East Lincoln's going to carry that 3A conference, and probably Statesville will be the closest one to give them a game. So, I wasn't taking anything away from Maiden. It was just knowing how Watauga plays.
Laney, you're right, though. Watauga won the last 3 conference championships.
Well, I know. And 4A, 2A, size, numbers, the whole 9 yards. Hey, Alan, good morning.
It made a lot of, all kidding aside, everybody likes to have fun. Yeah. But it made a lot of sense because of how big and strong they were. And, they had a couple skill guys that were out. One, their quarterback hurt his knee and things like that. And what you have to remember is when your line's that big and that strong, they blew us off the ball a couple of times. And it was very impressive. Blew us off the ball. It's like a swinging gate.
Yeah.
But, that's where your shell protection and dialing up, zone blitzes and things like that help with the power football game to be able to defend it.
Well, we talked about it Friday night in Mooresville's game against Huff, and you know it like I do. You don't see it preached as much now because you don't see this offense run as much.
Right.
But back when option football was the predominant offense, it was very much responsibility-based defense. It always is.
Yeah.
But it was so critical then because all it took is for one man to be out of place, and it's over. And you're doing the same thing. Yeah. If you get mashed up front, as long as everybody's still in position and playing their responsibility, you can recover.
Right.
Now, it goes back, and you'll remember this. Milt saying good morning. When Mike Briggs was at Lincoln back in the Charles Briggs, Goo White days when they had so much speed, he would tell you in a minute, I can send 11. Yeah. I can send 11 every play. Yeah. Best you're going to do is 15 yards because I'm going to run you down.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
No, that's true.
And it was because of what he had that had nothing to do with responsibility. He just had so much athleticism that he could do it. But when you're I don't want to say an average team, but when you've got to count on every guy on the field to do their job, you've got to have them playing smart.
Well, no, and that is like 100% analysis. That is absolutely 100% true, correct, and gospel. Okay. What's interesting is like you said, not a lot of teams. I say not a lot. Most teams today are not option style offenses. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is back in the day, that's the way the defenses were catered to play the option and to play isolation football. And today, you have power spread, but you've got, run outside, try to cut back in lanes, things like that. So defenses were catered, they went from 6-2, split middle 6-2, right, to the 5-2, to the 4-3, to the 3-4 and 3-3 because of athleticism, right? You went less linemen and more stand-up players for athleticism. Well, the one
as long as you had them.
No, that's what I'm saying. And we see teams that try to run defenses that really need to be in the 6-2. Let's just be honest. But it's just one of these things that you gotta play your scheme according to the personnel you got. Mm-hmm. And right now, with our fit and what we do, our scheme fits our personnel, and it has to be adaptable and adjustable each year. Mm-hmm. And so
Jeff Mackey, good morning. I've said this for a long time, and this goes back because I can only relate when I was playing and coaching. But Lincoln High School used to do the best job of if they had to throw everything out every year, they adapted to what players they had. If they didn't have a quarterback that can throw, then they came out slinging the ball around the schoolyard.
Right.
But if they had a quarterback that could put that thing anywhere they wanted to and receivers, then that's what they did.
Absolutely.
And to be successful, you have to do that. In college, you can recruit and bring in players to fit your scheme. But in high school, those players change every year. That mix changes every year. You've got to adapt so that those players can have success at what they're doing based on their skill ability.
You know what I think would make college football even better? And college football's great. I mean, I absolutely love it. It's just one of those things that I'm never going to retire.
Starts tomorrow.
But absolutely. But if I did retire, okay, God just got goosebumps. Starts tomorrow, right? But if I ever did retire, I would love to be, on a college football staff. Okay, just college football in general. About like I love being on a high school staff. I just do whatever they need me to do. I'm at that point in my life where I don't want to be the head coach. I want to be, if you need me to carry the water, if you want me to coach your defense, if you want
wait a minute. When I was the head coach, I did that. Maybe I missed something. I got to get the minute.
Hey, when I was the head coach, I did too. All right. But my point is that's the enjoyment that I feel personally. And I know a lot of the guys around me do, but you know what I think that would help college football out is if college football coaches could come back and be around or coach high school football for a year, after they've been in college for, 10 years. because a lot of times I think they lose sight, and I'm not criticizing them. I'm just making making an observation here. You hear things like, well, Coach, I really don't like his body. I really don't like da-da-da-da-da. Okay, I understand that, but he has a motor that doesn't stop.
You got to evaluate more than the physical.
Well, see, but this is the problem. You look at kids that have played here at Maiden, the greatest lineman that we ever had did not get to go to the ACC or SEC because he wasn't 6'3".
He was 1 inch short.
Right.
Yeah, and I told them they were idiots because I was coaching.
Well, of course. I mean, he's the best lineman. When he was a ninth
grader. He's already in Appalachian's Hall of Fame.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But when Matt Eisenhower was a ninth grader, and I knew Matt when he was coming up. I mean, I'd been at Maiden 3 or 4 or 5 years, whatever, and knew of him. And, I think his sister and my wife are the same age or very close in age. I mean, I knew the family. When Matt came up, the first day of practice, not in pads, practice, and he engaged the sled and he engaged the pad that was being held, when we were working on blocking drills. And Robbie Abernathy at that time was helping me with JV football, and he was the defense coordinator but also coached our line. Robbie said, that guy right there, yeah, Robbie is, he says, that guy right there, he could engage and drive. He's serious. I told Robbie, I said, he's incredible. And I told Coach Brown, I said, Coach Brown, I know, theoretically linemen don't come up. I said, but I'm telling you, this may be the best lineman. I said, I've only been coaching 6 years. This may be the best lineman that I ever see in my lifetime. He is that good. Mm-hmm. And then, like 3 or 4 weeks later, Will Underwood got hurt, had a terrible leg break, and they moved Matt up as a freshman, and he controlled that left tackle position. Yeah, like it in that 1A, 2A conference
and
we were in.
Great kid.
Oh my, great baseball. He played baseball for me.
Yeah.
Oh, he was great. He started third base as a freshman. I said, Matt, whatever you do, just don't let the ball bite. He said, that's no problem. He'd just stand right there, boom, take it off the chest.
Yeah.
I was like, this dude's 14 years old. He's a man. I said, I love you.
Yeah.
But the point is all back to that is a lot of times if they don't have the size, or even the apparent strength, then the recruiting coordinators get fired if they miss on the kid that they take a chance on. But if the kid's 6'7",
they sign by the numbers.
Right. If the kid's 6'7", 330 pounds, and he doesn't work out, then it's the kid's fault.
Yes.
So that's why that's what's happening. And it's, you do have to have the physical tools, but also you got to have the mental capacity to be able to play the game. And remember what Jack Lambert always used to say, Pittsburgh, you're a Steelers guy, drafted a linebacker, Lanny, every year that Jack Lambert was a linebacker at Pittsburgh. He said every year they try to draft somebody to take my job, but yet I still got my job. Why? His legs were this big around. His arms weren't much bigger. But he was the craziest, in the history of the world, and that's what made him great. Mm-hmm. So it's that inner dog that's ready to come out.
Of it. That's a huge part of it. They don't think you take enough into consideration for that.
No.
Barbie, good morning. Glad he's having a good year, and hope it continues. Keep him healthy if you can too. It's funny when you look at high school football, it has changed over the years, but some things for the better, some things not for the better. But as you said, when you're recruiting kids, you look at numbers protecting you. When you're coaching kids, you're looking at it how to make that kid better. And what does that kid have?
No, you're right. That's 100. That's again. Golly, these are really good.
Don't tell my wife.
Hey, look, she's a Maiden girl. She's going to protect her turf. Yeah, I love the Jones girls, man.
Okay,
they're fantastic.
Okay,
I love them all.
Okay,
they're great. God, their dad was like the fourth or fifth guy when I met. Son, I'm telling you what a good dude. He was a Blue Devil. Holy cow. Die-hard Blue Devil, man. What a great dude. But anyway, you're spot on with your analysis on that. Spot on.
Well, it's just it's one of those things to where, and the other thing, and I noticed this from the Mooresville game. Mooresville was pretty darn impressive. Huff was huge. Yeah. Holy God. Yeah. Their quarterback's like 6'3", 6'4". He's a D1. He could throw that thing on a rope 40 yards. But you know the thing that Mooresville did? They stopped those big horses up front on defense. They could not run the ball on
right.
Morphle. But on offense, they couldn't find anything that would work that would give those kids some success. If you don't, at that age, if you can't find something that'll give that kid a little bit of confidence, it's hard for them not to kind of start shutting down because they don't know what to do. They can't – it's hard to muster it at that age. So when I was coaching, I always tried to find some solid things that I could drop back to, that I could make that group of kids get a little success and get a little taste. You know, you hear about people, you have to teach kids how to win if they haven't won in a long time. It's the same thing. And I watched it all night as they kept trying to go. You were not running between the tackles on them 4 studs up front from Huff. They never went away from it, never saw a jet sweep, never saw an outside power, never saw a quick pitch, nothing in the book. If that were me, when I broke that film down, I would go back and say, now this was Mooresville's first game because their first one got postponed. So this was the first game they'd played. I'm going back to the films, and I'm trying to find, if I'm not that strong up front offensively, I got to find something. I've got to slant an angle and try to get some numbers and try to get some success because it's not happening.
You know, it's interesting that
the running plays would be so slow developing that it just, you know, it was like the floodgates were open.
Yeah, it's what's so interesting about what you said about, you know, you've got to be creative and, you know, move, you know, try to move the front a little bit. You know, the one thing that the Red Bone down at South Point is always, you know, they always either competed great against Crest or would beat them when they were in a conference. And you'd say, well, or let's just say non-conference. And like, how in the world can – because what their coaching staff – what Coach Lineberger told me, it's been like 10 years ago, we were talking at a Legion game, but he told me, he said, Coach Rembert, he said, my 190-pound center and my 195-pound guard can move Crest's 372-pound nose. He said, they both together can move him. He said, and all we want is initial 2 to 3 yards.
Yeah.
You know, but what he was saying was they had a philosophy, they had a process, and he said now the next week it may be that 300 or 280-pound defensive tackle that we have to double out, cut the nose, you know, and double him out, and then run the veer a little wider or, you know, some other variation. But I'm just giving an example. And what's interesting is when talking to Coach Lineberger, of course, Coach Devine was there. You know, they've had several great coaches, you know, in the history of, you know, that coaching chain there. The one thing that I remember him telling me that I tell our kids all the time at Maiden is, I said, well, what does so-and-so do? Talking about when Tanner Muse was playing. That's the time Tanner was playing, you know, down there before he went to Clemson. You know, he's being recruited as a sophomore, junior, I mean, just crazy. And great athlete. You know, they told him, said, don't even worry about going to college play baseball because you're going to get drafted. I mean, he was that good. Tanner was that good. But the one thing I remember them telling me was, you know, we are football players first. You know, we practice football and being a football player first. I don't care if you're a quarterback. I don't care.
Fundamentally.
Yeah, and fundamentally, mentally being the part of the fundamentally being a football player first. I think that's why Ethan Rhodes, our quarterback at Maiden that doesn't play a lick of defense, he could, and he's more than willing to. He just doesn't need to. But that's the one thing that Ethan – he is a football player first. Like if we're doing sled drills, if we're doing these things, and all our kids are, they don't mind being a football player first and then playing position on the football team. That's important.
Well, you got to have that overall concept. I need to take a time out. Milton said if you keep doing the same thing, expect a different result, you're nuts. That's called insanity.
Definition of insanity.
That's the definition of insanity.
He's
and
right,
Richie
though.
said
He's
the
right.
only time you keep doing the same thing is if it works until they stop it. That was always my philosophy. If you like what you just saw, you're going to see it again until you stop it, and then we'll go to something else. But I was always that way as well. Take a time out, back in a moment.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call Ford Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And welcome back. Glad to have you here on a Tuesday morning. Going to be warm. Should be some rain moving in later in today, into the night, and tomorrow. About an 80% chance. Expecting it to be gone. Mountains looking for another 4 inches. I feel for the folks up in Haywood County. Going to get another deluge coming through there. Ty Beam, good morning. Matt Beam, good morning. Congratulations on the win on Friday. Kenny Weaver, good morning. Stephen Lowe said that when he played for you that you ran heavy right 36 veer 12 times in a row. I could do things like that. That did not bother me. Now, I will say this, though. If you're as a defensive coach, you're coaching against a team that runs, depending upon who the team is, what they call it. At South Point, they called it the red bone.
Yeah.
But it was really the wing tee with some variations to it. Shelby runs sort of the same thing. But in the wing tee offense, which we ran when I was still coaching at West Lincoln, that you had certain keys as a defense that's what you would teach your players because it would take you to the ball. Now, when I was coaching offense, I would vary from that. for that same reason, because you can't show those keys every time. You better show something that's misdirection, and the wing T is, but there are still keys inside the offense.
No, there are, and it's just very interesting, the different philosophies on people talking about attacking the veer. Not necessarily trying to stop it, but the way they attack it. And the coach at Polk County is a guy named Bruce Allis.
Bruce is awesome.
That coaches at Polk County, and he's been there, quite a while. He came up from, I believe, South Carolina. And
this is his second trip. He was there when I was at Highland back around 2001.
Right. Yeah,
and went to Landrum, and he came back.
Yeah. He was coaching there when I was at Irwin back in I think maybe 04 and 05 up in Asheville. And we were scrimmaging down there. And I was talking to him, and that's when they were starting. They were starting to get pretty good. His kids came through, and they were a pretty good football team. And I talked to him. I said, Coach, what gives you the most issues? They were running the triple option at that time, and what he told me was, he said, a very well coached gap control 50. He said, now that gives us problems. He said, but we just don't see that much anymore with the variations of an even man front. At that time, he was just kind of going through the progression, but it was always good to listen, to perspective of guys that had been coaching a long time, especially when I was in my late 20s, early whatever it was, early 30 or whatever. Having that perspective with Coach Brown, Coach Patrick, Coach Cloninger. There were many times when I heard Scott Cloninger talk, to the other coaches, and I would just sit there and listen. And being a sponge, Dickie Foster, who my dad coached with, all these names I know very well. Yeah. And, of course, Coach Fawcett, he was a defensive coordinator at Ford. My dad coached there with him before. He went to Bunker. And
Randy Lohman.
Now, I'm going to tell you what, Randy Lohman, I spent a couple summers out at Bandy's when I was coaching at Maiden, because I was helping Doug McCree coach Legion Baseball, and they had a team. At that time, it was called East Catawba. So I would go out there every day, 1 or 2 o'clock, get ready for that night's game with Doug and Chopper and those guys. And Coach Lohman, I tell you what, man, not only is he a great guy, I mean, just a good man, very patient, good man, but listening to him talk football was really, really good. That was, and they never said anything about their schemes or what they did, but they let me sit in there with them in that coaching office, and just listen. And that was 2 really good summers for me as well.
Bill Klein, good morning. TJ, good morning. Bruce Eicher, good morning. Bill said the first football game he ever called was Old Fort at Polk Central in the late 60s.
That's awesome.
That goes back
Polk
a little
Central.
bit. And Bruce Eicher said Coach Ollis was with him at LR. Great coach. And, man, I like – when I told him I was leaving Highland, we went to the last conference meeting. Butch Blaylock, our AD, wanted me to go with him. To make in the spring to get everything set up. Bruce was one of those. Of course, I cannot remember the guy that he and his dad were coaches up at Hendersonville, but Bruce said, come to Polk County. I'll get you a job. You can come up here. I said, nope, I've had enough. I'm
BJ Lauder?
Yes.
BJ? Yeah, he's a great guy.
I mean, those were great guys.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying on the defensive side, I tell people this all the time. When I was coming up, when I played – defenses didn't cheat. And when I say defenses didn't cheat, when you knew what the team ran, and those players were in those positions, if they ran a 52 or a 53 or a 6'2", you knew where they were going to be. Now, occasionally they would deal a little bit, but they pretty well knew. Yeah. Now, there is no standard. Everything's just they're hybrids of all type of stuff. But when I was coaching, and all of them when you look at a 5'2", a 5'2", a 4'3", 3'4", they're all the same depending upon what kind of athletes you can put in those positions. But I was the same way. Regardless of what I did, I always wanted gap control. If I had gap control, then I stood a better chance of making something happen.
It's very true.
And it gave everybody else, you talk about the outer shield, it gave everybody else an opportunity to scrape if we didn't make it. To make the play instead of allowing people down on them, because that's when you really get screwed and they get to the next level.
And you're right, Lanny. And I think one of the biggest things that, in today's, cat and mouse game, like you're talking about with defense and offense is, you have to decide if you're going to play checkers or if you're going to play chess.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean that somebody's smarter than somebody else or have this great innovative
if you're
mind.
massive, you play checkers.
Well, right. And so what I'm saying is you got to kind of do things, with the kids that you've got that help you, finish, help you give you an opportunity to win the game. There's so many times that, things are done early on in the game, especially, you can see things offensively, especially if you get a team down by a score or two. They will start pressing and show you everything. And as a defensive coordinator, once you've shown this is how you're going to do what you do and that it's been seen on film and reinforced and you can feel that pressure start coming as far as, oh, no, we got to score, and they start going outside of things that they do, it makes it very tough.
But usually when you go outside of things you normally do, usually that hasn't been practiced as much.
Well, and that's pressing.
When you're digging down into playbook trying to find something.
No, that's
what
I'm saying. But that's normal human nature. To go to what's to try to get that comfortable feeling back. You press and go outside the box a little more instead of doing variations off of what you do. You may start showing something that you did on third down normally that you're doing on first or on second. And tendencies are everything. And, everybody's different. I'm certainly not criticizing anyone. I'm just saying that, there's a lot of human nature that goes into the coaching aspect as well.
Everybody's trying to outthink everybody else's next move, just like you said with chess.
And I felt that as an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, head coach. I've had all those feelings as well. And it's just about management. Everything is about managing the process and not just about a particular style or a particular play or a particular person calling plays. There's this great misnomer that, well, so-and-so's a genius. Well, Charlie Weiss was considered that as well when he was at New England. And when he took the job at Notre Dame, there were articles that came out and said Notre Dame may win 7 or 8 national championships based on the philosophy of being able to throw the football and what Charlie Weiss can do with quarterbacks.
That didn't work out real well.
Well, that again, is the perception, is not the reality. It was the reality of those people, but it's not the true reality of what's going on because it's so much deeper than that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Kathy, good morning. Jeremy, good morning. Along that same vein, this was something I wanted to talk with you about. I had a little discussion last night on Facebook. This particular guy, a friend of mine, he's a Bama guy, got a kid at Bama, big believer in Bama, and really high on Mac Jones, and so am I. But I put this out there, and I want to get your take on it. Mac Jones has the opportunity to be very successful at New England because that is a system offense, which is what he's used to coming out of. A well-organized, control, not come apart at the seams offense. Had Mac Jones, he was the 15th pick, so he was in the top half of the first round.
Right.
A normal first round high pick goes to a very dysfunctional team, and Mac Jones would not be very good at that. There were 2 teams that Mac Jones fit, I thought.
Okay.
New England and San Francisco because of the offensive systems that are in play. Now, we've had the discussion Belichick or Brady. We saw Brady was successful, but he had the pieces around him and a coach that would let him develop what he felt like he needed to do for him to be successful. Mac Jones could bring, and I hate to say it, bring that same thing to New England because the Belichick system will work with the right system quarterback. Cam Newton is not that quarterback. Even if he was in his prime, he's not that quarterback.
Right, and that's okay. There's not every fit for every style of play, and that's certainly not, in my opinion, not a knock on Cam. It's just he's more of a freelance type player,
not a Belichick guy.
Right, but who did Mac Jones play for in college?
Nick Saban.
Okay, no, I'm just
same philosophy.
So did Mac Jones wait it out? Did he wait his turn, especially after Jalen Hurts was so good, and then they brought in Tua, which I think cost him a couple of personally, as great as he was, I think it cost him a couple of national championships or at least an opportunity for a couple more. just because sometimes the greater player is not the greater fit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes disruption. You know, there's an issue when your starting quarterback, or excuse me, your second string quarterback Hurts is a team captain. There's some miscommunication there. Now, I'm not saying anybody's wrong. I'm saying
that's a coaching issue.
But what I'm saying is
organizational.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, a lot of times we hear you need your 11 best athletes on the field. That's not necessarily true. You need the unit of those 11 people that work best together.
That's correct.
Because if they're athletic and they don't have responsibility, then athleticism is style. I need the substance.
That's right.
So going back to Mac, okay, I think you're right about the San Francisco and obviously about New England, okay? Another one that remains to be seen is, because of his demeanor, is the Urban Meyer era in pro football, if it does indeed work out. That would be another system that he would thrive in because of the sternness of the head coach, the laser focus, don't care what you think about me, this is what we're doing. I'm not a politician. You know, but what did Belichick always say anytime there's a scandal? Moving on to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But
the other side of it is, and this is where people miss the point. Mac Jones doesn't have to be retrained.
No.
He came through that same philosophy at Alabama.
Yes.
So what's going on in New England is not new to him. He's
Right.
not going to buck the system. He knows exactly how this is going to work, and he knows exactly how to play within the system that he's placed in.
And you're exactly right. This is the thing about it. Defensive coordinators in the NFL are in the NFL for a reason. Once they get a season, 8 or 9, 10 games on a player, they call it the sophomore slump the next year. That's because they've shown, because they're out there, they're so excited to do all the things that they can do and show all this stuff, that normally the second year is not a good year. The third year is where the improvement comes in, then the fourth. It's just like the Mannings. You know, I mean, it's the same thing with them. Same thing with Brady. You know, they didn't have a lot of film on him. He was able to ride that team to a Super Bowl. The next year, yeah, he did okay, but he kept improving from there. So back to Brady. People can say what they, you know, and everybody has their opinion. When you have a guy like that, that is in a system like that is a no BS, you're going to go by the book, this is how we do it. You got two choices. You're either going to adhere to that or you're not going to play there, okay, or be there. That allows your growth to go as high as you can possibly take it, okay? Now that Brady's got that 20 years of growth in, he's basically a coach, player, owner.
Mike Payton.
Knows how to do it.
Yeah.
And therefore he can go to a place like Tampa Bay with a free spirit like Bruce Arians, who tried to make Brady a gunslinger the first 7 games, 8 games, decided in that bye week, you know what, I'm going to get on the same page as you.
I'm going to trust you.
Because I know you know what you're doing.
That's correct.
Okay? And then what happened? Super Bowl. Or at least an opportunity to get there, right? Mac Jones, in no way am I saying he's going to be Tom Brady. What I'm saying is, reinforcing what you said was, he has the training, he's got the mindset, he plays with a chip on his shoulder because he got passed up for 5 years. Okay, you know, he felt like he was the man long before, and he never left. Didn't cry about it. He didn't go in the corner and suck his thumb. He wasn't happy, but he didn't quit. That's why he's where he is today. One season. But he got to play against Alabama's first-string defense every day, which has pro guys on it every year. Therefore, it's measurable. Don't dismiss the fact that defensive coordinators that are playing against New England this year have watched every practice film they can get a hold of Mac Jones and game film.
Yeah.
Don't dismiss it. And the thing about it is, he's not going to do anything that he's not supposed to do.
But here's the deal.
And
here's the deal,
stop that.
and I'm going to take a break. I want to mention Coach Fawcett's got a happy birthday today.
Yeah.
Birthday to him. TJ says Mac is Alex Smith 2.0. Mac Jones could have been successful at Kansas City under Andy Reid too.
No,
because
great point.
they get
great
it.
point.
They get it.
Who said that, TJ? Yeah, that's a great point.
But they
point.
get it. And the thing of it is, the reason that even the film won't be as effective with a Mac Jones
absolutely
is because Belichick, it's not a surprise what he does, but they just execute so flawlessly.
Lenny, you're right. And the thing about him and McDaniels is, Josh McDaniels, right? Yeah. The thing about them is like 1 week And you just saw this with Brady. 1 week they would be in the spread, no problem, have 1 or 2 backs. No problem, mostly 1. But then the next week you go and play them. And playing against the defense,
they break down that defense. They break down that defense of where they feel like they can be successful.
Run it tall sweep.
Yeah.
Like 30 times.
Yeah.
And a guy that you ain't ever heard of gets like 185 yards.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
they found chinks in the armor and want to expose those. And that's, don't impose your will. Let somebody else's chinks in the armor show you where you can impose your will.
Amen. Great point.
Let me take a break, and we'll be back. Wrap it up.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com.
Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stiefel Nicholas can assist you. Call Ford Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stiefel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And welcome back. Glad to have you in the house this morning. Wrapping it up here on a Tuesday morning. Juju will join me on tape delay in the morning. He's got a real job. Bill Bender will join us. College football kicks off tomorrow night.
Yep.
And in a full slate, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Games every day.
Going to the mountains, sitting in front of my TV all weekend, dude.
There you
go. Can't wait.
Matt Matan, good morning, Mary. Good morning. Matt says, how is Coach Belichick executed without Brady behind center? Time will tell. The problem with Belichick, well, I don't say the problem. The opportunity with Belichick is he's a guy that does not adapt well. He's got to have the right pieces that can fall inside of his philosophy. I'm not saying he doesn't adapt what he's doing and running, but it's going to be his way or the highway with players and attitudes and effort and all those things that go along with it. Yeah. And that's where it's been a challenge for him. And he's taken some of the problem children and brought them to New England and able to straighten them out. Yeah. I mean, he's had some of the thugs come through New England and been able to handle it. But that's where – that's where I think this is a perfect match for New England. And I hate to say it because I don't want to see New England win anything else. Nobody cares except the people that are in New England. And Matt, he's in Asheville, but he's a misplaced Yankee. He's from there. So, I mean that with all the love I got, Matt. But that's what makes him successful.
Yeah, so think of it like this. When you run your program, whether it be in college or pro or even high school, let's think of it like this. If you're a business owner, okay, and your top CEO and CFO decide to retire or move on, you're not going to be able to go out and find the intangibles that are underdeveloped at that time, right, immediately in most cases. So it takes 3 or 4 years to get that company back. But because of the leadership, that was the reason it was there to start off with, okay, and gave that opportunity for that talent and those intangibles to flourish and grow and transform into, what it is today. It's the same thing when you have someone that runs a football program, okay, a football franchise. Instead of trying to win every week no matter what and not looking ahead, they're always looking, 3 to 5 to 10 years out, of the process, right? What changes are going to be in football in 10 years down the road? Or is there anything of those changes that I can make now? Go and implement them to stay ahead of the times. And most people say, yeah, but Belichick doesn't stay ahead of the times. Yeah, okay, if that's the case, then why for 20 years was he so far ahead?
Now, let me say this, okay? And here again, as I say all the time, this is Lanny's opinion, okay? This is Lanny's opinion. Belichick was not a genius in drafting Tom Brady, that he knew what he was going to become, okay? What happened was he found a guy that fell through the cracks, that understood what it took to be successful, meaning I put it all on the line. Yeah. I'm out here for whatever you need for me to do. Give me an opportunity to prove myself, but I'm not going to bellyache about it. If I don't, I'll wait my turn, and when I get that opportunity, it's up to me to show. And then once Belichick knew, think of what Drew Bledsoe could have been.
Or he
was. That's what I'm saying, but I mean, just think of what he could have been until Tommy came along.
Yeah,
and people don't remember or understand what he was.
No, Bledsoe's an amazing player. I mean, Brady, took his place, then got hurt. Bledsoe won the game that took him to the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Kind of like Jalen Hurts did with Tua, vice versa. But, what's interesting, with all that is Brady had some intangibles that were majorly overlooked. He was drafted as a catcher. So, for baseball, he was a guy that had, an above average arm. Now, when you looked at him without his shirt on and his bird chest, and it took him 3.5 days to run the 40-yard dash, I get it. But that was not what New England's quarterback needed to be. New England's quarterback needs to be someone that can run the offense, not run a 4.7 40-yard dash. Because the
that needs to run
ends,
Bill Belichick's.
That's what I'm saying. And this thing about running quarterbacks, that's great. But when you get in pro football and most SEC, teams, they have defensive ends / outside linebackers that are faster than these old-world speedy quarterbacks. Okay? That is people talk about, it's going to go the spread in football and in pro football. That's fine. But you're going to have ambulances lined up for the guys that are running the spread offense.
Short careers.
And they're not going to be able to stay very long in the league and going to end up coaching or going back home and volunteering somewhere. And then, and then take, what is it, turmeric tablets? Is that what it's called? The turmeric, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
To try to help with joint pain like I do the rest of your life. I mean, it is what it is.
Let me give you a couple things from on this day besides the historic birth of Randy Fawcett.
Hey,
we'll get to this
Coach
later.
Fawcett's a great guy.
Oh, man. I loved working for Fawcett.
Hey, I'm telling you, man.
Fawcett, Marty Curtis.
Let me tell you something. His hair, when he was the defensive coordinator at Fred T. Ford, I think he was in his real early 30s. And I was like 10 years old. My dad was coaching there with him. And I remember the first day I met Coach Fawcett. He had muscles. He wore his bike shorts. You couldn't have worn them any higher or tighter. And I thought, man, if I could have that guy's hair one day. and he's always so good. So kind. He would say, "Hey, Ford, baby, how you doing today?" I was just a little kid, man. I love Coach Fawcett from day one,
He
man.
was the best.
He's great, dude.
Let me give you a couple sports celebrities that passed on this day. 1969, Rocky Marciano passed away in a plane crash at 45. I did not know that. That's a new one on me. A new one on me. The legend, John Thompson, passed away on this day in 2020. 2 NBA championships with the Celtics. 1 championship with Georgetown in college at the age of 78. And I didn't realize this. Tom Seaver passed away on this day a year ago from Lewy body dementia, and I'm not sure what that is, and COVID. At the age of 75 is when we lost those two.
He went down
on the same day.
Yeah, when he started going down, it was his family did a good job of keeping him, comfortable and isolated and very private. But I hate, Coach Thompson too. When you look back at Coach, what a great guy and such a major contributor.
Yeah.
And when they were playing Carolina in the national championship '82, again, I think I was not even 10 years old yet. And my dad, who was a basketball guy, talked about the relationship that Dean Smith. I said, "You mean those two know each other?" Because I saw John Thompson standing there and Dean Smith. When you're kids, you notice those things, right? And he said, "Oh yeah," he said he helps him with the Olympic basketball team. I said, "You're kidding." All these things. Like, yeah, he said they're very, very close.
Yeah. No, John Thompson, great guy.
And just think about all the kids that John Thompson, helped. And make them better husbands, better fathers, make career choices, the influence that he had, and the fact that he was given the platform at Georgetown. I say given, he earned that. Let me be very clear. And he very easily could have been an NBA coach and done that for as long as he wanted to. But he chose to go to Georgetown. What a great example, man. Golly, what a great guy.
Yep. Tim Hefner, good morning. Great Frank Robinson was born on this day in 1935, passed away in 2019. Jim Fossil is another. We lost Fossil last year.
Yeah.
Born this day in 1949, was at Utah for 4 years. The Giants from 97 to 03. Yeah. See if we've got any more rolling through here. A lot of crickets. I just don't do cricket, so I can't really help you there. Padre Harrington, the Irish golfer, born on this day in 1971. Scott Niedermeyer, not to be confused with Douglas Niedermeyer from Animal House. Just in case.
Be very clear.
I watched that this weekend again. It's not like I hadn't seen it 15,000 times. That's your birthdays. Let's see if we got some events from sports today. I'm sure there's a lot of baseball. The very first U.S. men's single tennis championship was in Newport, Rhode Island on this day in 1889. It was either clay or grass. I'm not sure which, but there was no such thing as asphalt in 1881.
I'm sure it's grass.
Yeah. I always see these, and I do not remember these, even though they were in my lifetime, the Chicago All-Star games where the college All-Stars would play a team from the NFL. I do not remember that. Gil Hodges in 1950 hit 4 home runs and a single in a game versus the Braves.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Braves are in first place. How long does that last? 1959, Sandy Koufax breaks Dizzy Dean's National League mark of 18 strikeouts in a game.
That's so incredible.
Ogla Corbett, we talked about her yesterday. Mm-hmm. Also, this was one of the greatest athletes of the time in my eyes was Mark Spitz. He won 7 gold medals, wasn't it, in swimming?
He won a lot.
Wasn't that right?
Yeah.
1972, the Munich Olympics. Golly. Were you born in 72?
Yeah, just.
Okay.
Just.
I knew. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember. I remember them well. Let's see. Curtis Strain sets golf's earnings for a year in 1987 at $697,000. Now, a winning match now could pay upwards of close to $2 million in one golf match. 1980, I thought this was cool. Baseball outfielders Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. become the first father-son to play on the same team, the Mariners. The pair hit back-to-back singles in the first inning and both scored. Mm-hmm. How cool would that be?
They both hit a home run in the same game, too. There was a game that they played in where they both hit a home run in it. I can't remember if they were with Cincinnati at that time or whatever, but I do remember that.
1997, the great Eddie George runs for 216 yards on 35 carries, scores a touchdown as the Oilers,
that's awesome,
playing their first NFL game in Tennessee, beat the Oakland Raiders 24-21 in the Liberty Bowl in Memphis. That was when I forgot they started in Memphis. And
That's crazy, isn't it?
And then they moved to Nashville.
Yeah.
But I don't remember
and then changed their name to the Titans on that move, right?
Were they – but what were they then? Were they still the Oilers?
They were the Oilers for a year or two, and then when they built
But they weren't
stadium,
the Houston Oilers. What
no,
were
they were the Tennessee Oilers.
Were they Tennessee Oilers?
Yeah.
Okay. I
believe that's right.
Hey, Wes, thanks for getting up this morning. Appreciate the effort. Todd Herm says, go Braves and take the Falcons with you. The Dirty Birds. Have a great day, everybody. It's going to be hot, maybe some rain, a little cooler weather coming in. Still looks good for high school football toward the end of the week. Already had another postponement. I think Newton Conover has been postponed this week. Yeah. Of course, it's changing every day. We'll try to keep you updated as we hear about it. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Good Lord willing, the creek don't rise, but with the hurricane coming through, it might. See you guys.
Go Blue.